Yo, what is going on, my Pokemaniacs? So for today's video, it's going to be a very, very different thing that I've been doing. I invited my good friend Garen to do this first episode of PokeTalks. So we're going to be previewing the Dark Phantasm set that's going to be releasing on May 13th, which is next Friday as recording this video. So basically, I just want to introduce Garen here. Been a long-time subscriber of the channel and very knowledgeable in the TCG arena. So Garen, thank you for doing this.
Yo, what's up, Niko? Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
I know it's been like a little bit over 3 years
Yeah.
since we've been knowing each other.
Yeah.
And I'm a big supporter of the Pokemaniac scene that you created. So thanks again for thinking of me when starting this first episode.
No, yeah, for sure. It was an easy choice because obviously, like you said, 3 years gone by and you've been a big supporter. So basically what we're going to be doing here for this first episode of PokeTalks, obviously, is previewing the Dark Phantasm. But afterwards, after Dark Phantasm comes out, maybe we can do a review of what the cards we liked, what the expectations were, if they were met. If not, then we'll talk about that as well. And make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. We're so close to that 1K mark. And obviously, we are going to be looking for your guys' feedback in terms of what should we be talking about, any improvements that you guys might have, and any comments that you guys want to chime in. We're obviously here for you guys. So if you want, Garen, you can take it away.
Yeah, for sure. So Dark Phantasma, we've seen a little bit of the previews on PokeBeach and Cerebi, and it looks like there's a total of 71 cards so far.
Yeah, currently.
And we haven't seen any of the secret rares. But are Japanese sets typically this small?
This one I believe is a subset, so it would be this small. Usually the main sets, like you get the Time Gazer and the Space Juggler, that obviously has a larger pool of cards. But this one is kind of like a Battle Region set. Battle Region set basically had a few cards as well. Not too crazy, but who knows how many secret rare cards that we get. Obviously, it could be anywhere from 13 cards to like 20. I don't know.
Wow.
Basically, so this is a subset. So basically, it's going to come in the smaller type of booster boxes. Usually, you get the larger booster boxes, but you're going to be getting the smaller one. So
Yeah, sort of like the set you opened before.
the battle region,
Yeah,
exactly like that.
and I'm counting the cards right now, and it looks like it's about 60 Pokemon cards in total.
Okay.
And 10 supporter cards.
Right.
But maybe the set list might update closer to the release date.
Yeah. So you got to think about it. So 71 plus, it could be close to 100, to be quite honest with you,
Wow.
depending on the secret rares. But last time, there wasn't too many secret rares in terms of gold. I believe the only gold card in the battle region set was the Hisuian Typhlosion or Samurott gold card. So the V-Star one. So it's up there. So we're gonna know in the next few days as we're recording this video. And obviously we'll include that if we can.
Compared to other sets, are you stoked for this set? Or is it one of those that you're just like, okay, let's see what Pokemon has in store for us?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm super stoked because the Japanese type of sets are always amazing, and obviously that gives you a little bit of preview of what's to come. There's usually, I think, 2 to 3 sets, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, the people in the comments can correct me. I believe there's 2 to 3 sets in between each English set, so that's something to look forward to as well. So it'll give us a preview of what's to come, the Hisuian Pokemon, and then what translates over into Astral Radiance coming up as well. So super stoked.
Nice. After this set comes out, we're getting Astral Radiance. So Astral Radiance sort of gets some from
Battle
Battle
Region.
Region, right?
Exactly. I don't think
This
there's going to be any from this set. Not now. But Battle Region, we will get some stuff from there.
nice. I'm always confused with Japanese sets. Because I remember at the beginning they were gonna include the VMAX, which is sort of like Dynamaxing in the game.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to see like the Machamp or the Gengar or others that change form when they Dynamax.
Yeah.
But it's been almost 2 years, and I think we just received Gengar VMAX, and we're about to receive Machamp VMAX. So
yeah, that's going to be an awesome Pokemon. to be a VMAX, because obviously VMAXs are starting to get like a lot less popularity and a lot less appearance inside of the sets. It's more about like V stars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
There are VMAXs, but back then it was a V and a VMAX. Now you got V, VMAX, V star, and the newest thing that's going to come in Astro Radiance is obviously the Radiant Pokemon, or the what do you call it in sparkling Pokemon, they call it too. So it's that the name you choose that you can use for that.
yeah.
Mhm.
And with this set, it sort of looks like the Sword and Shield set
Mhm.
is coming to an end,
Yeah,
because this set is takes its inspiration from Pokemon's Legend Arceus. So it
exactly.
has a Hussein forms,
Mhm.
and several of the trainers are from the characters from the game.
Mhm.
So it sort of looks like Sword and Shield is coming to an end. Um, Sword and Shield base set came out in February of 2020,
Right.
and right before it, Sun and Moon was coming to a close as well. So maybe by 2023, early 2023,
Yeah.
we see Generation 9 in card form already.
I think that's exactly right, because I think they follow their own timeline, because it's usually the game comes out first, obviously. So the game's going to come out at the end of this year, and then it takes about like a couple months for it to translate into cards. So usually around February or March, we'd be getting a set from Scarlet and Violet.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's something to look forward to. But if you want, let's just kick it off. If you want, let's look at some cards. Let's speak a little bit about the obviously the playability would be more your arena, and obviously I'll do the collectability on my end.
For sure.
Hmm.
Let me share my screen.
Okay.
And it looks like they're all based around ghost or psychic type
Yeah, yeah,
or dark
exactly.
type,
Yeah,
even
dark.
poison type.
Yeah, exactly. And the release date of this kind of made it a little bit sketchy in a way, because obviously it's Friday the 13th that this set is going to be released. So I thought it was just I mean, it's just marketing, It's Pokemon doing its thing on marketing, releasing
Yeah.
it on February 13th to include dark, poison, and ghost type of things. So that's great on their part.
Yeah, they're trying to throw us the bad luck
Yeah, let's see.
now that everybody's back into Pokemon cards and collecting.
Yeah.
They
I
want to
mean,
make it impossible for us.
this set would have been perfect on October, Halloween
Yeah,
type of set. That would have been perfect, but I guess they couldn't wait any longer.
right.
So,
So
to start off, what Pokemon catches your attention in the playability side of things? What are you looking for?
playability,
Yeah,
I sort of like this Radiant Gardevoir.
yeah. Radiant Pokemon obviously good for the collectability as well. And
Yeah,
what aspect or are you looking forward to in this Radiant Gardevoir?
I've always loved that Shadow Rider deck. And
Yeah.
so with this deck, with this Radiant Pokemon, it
Mhm.
would be perfect to throw it into that deck.
Okay.
And then with this, it's a perfect Pokemon for your deck. But
Perfect.
unfortunately, I noticed that the Radiant Pokemon,
You can only
though,
have one in your deck, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
so it could be a great addition for later in the game or
Hmm.
early in the game when you're building up.
Exactly. So, what part of Gardevoir gets you excited? Is it its ability, its attack? What do you stands out for you?
Mainly its attack,
Okay.
because one psychic energy and two colorless
Mm-hmm.
would be perfect if you include twin energy or spooky energy,
Mm-hmm.
and then having it sit on your bench for a while.
Yeah.
With its ability, your Pokemon take 20 less, and with the inclusion of the double turbo energy,
Mm-hmm.
your opponent's Pokemon are already doing 20 less damage. so
Right.
this could do 40 less damage.
Ah,
So
okay.
this Pokemon would be perfect in the future.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think Pokemon did that in a way the Radiant Pokemon only can be used one inside of each deck because it seems to me, and I could be wrong, obviously, but it seems to me like the Radiant Pokemon are kind of like the supporters to be able to stop, let's say, the big decks like the Mew VMAX or the Shadow Rider or any type of deck. They're kind of like supporters. You don't throw them out there and expect you to have your deck revolve all around Radiant Pokemon. I think it's more of a supporter for you to knock out those big Pokemon. Can
Right.
you agree? Do you agree with that?
Right. Yeah. With Evolving Skies and Brilliant Stars,
Hmm.
it's sort of fed to one type of gameplay.
Yeah.
And with this new set and the future sets in English,
Hmm.
it's balancing the game a lot better now.
Okay. Right. Okay. So if you want, we can move on to the next type of Pokemon that you want to see or you're excited in the playability side. It could be, it could be the Machamp. I know Machamp has a really good
Right.
um, set on it. Um, I know it already has, 150 HP for a stage 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Stage 3.
Machamp is another one that caught my eye.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it when I was previewing this set list.
Yeah.
I was looking at the ability. The ability itself is called Crisis Muscle,
Mm-hmm.
and if your Pokemon has three prizes left or fewer, this Pokemon gets 150. So this is
That's
another single prize card.
exactly.
So in the early game, you could try to set up your bench
Mm-hmm.
and have your opponent knock out um, three of your Pokemon. And by the time three of your Pokemon are gone,
Mm-hmm.
you should be ready to have this Machamp ready to go.
Yeah.
And its attack, Strong Arm Lariat,
Yeah.
its a add-on effect is you may have this attack deal 100 more damage.
Exactly.
So Pokemon like Arceus, Arceus V Star, among others,
Mhm.
regular Pokemon V can be knocked out by this strong Machamp.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if you add item cards
Mhm.
to it or set up with other Pokemon, you could do a lot more damage or you could have a lot more HP. And
Yeah.
this could be sort of a Pokemon VMAX that only gives your opponent one prize card.
Yeah, so that's
So,
awesome. So it gives you 150 damage, which equals out to 300 HP just from its ability. So now that I'm thinking about it, abilities are played every single turn. Every turn that you get, you can play the Pokemon ability. So does that mean in this aspect, because I don't really know, in this aspect, could you use that ability every single turn and create your 150? So it'll be plus 150 each turn? Or is that not?
unfortunately, it doesn't work like that.
Uh-huh.
It's just a single ability, like in Pokemon in the main games,
Yeah.
where the turn you have it, this Pokemon has 150 more HP.
Mhm.
And if you have multiple Machamps, each
Right.
Machamp uh,
We'll
gets
get
their
that
own
extra.
150.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make that clear for me and for others as well, because that'd be insane to be 150 each time, each turn that you get. So you would have to knock out this Machamp pretty quickly for it not to gain that 150 each turn. But it's good to know that you can only use it that one time um, for Machamp because that'd be absolutely broken. Because at 300 HP, it's a lot better than V and some V maxes, to be quite honest. So. That's awesome. Trifecta. So
Yeah,
yeah, let's look at the Hisuian Zoroark V-Star. Let's check that out.
nice.
So
So
what
I'm
is it?
looking right off the bat. I'm looking at
Uh-huh.
the HP,
Yeah,
and it's 270. So that's
200.
pretty good for B stars.
Yeah.
And in the game, I know it's a different typing than the original Zoroark.
Mhm,
So this Zoroark is normal type,
mhm.
which would be perfect for a lot of us. pairing it with pretty much any other typing. So you could
Okay.
include the Zoroark with a water deck, with a thunder deck, um, and its attack opponents.
Yeah, of your Pokemon. Okay,
Yeah,
so whatever type of damage that your Pokemon has, uh, for each of your Pokemon that has any damage counter. So it doesn't matter how much damage they got. If they have damage, it's gonna do 50. To think about it, when people stack their bench, you got 5 Pokemon, right? And then you got the one that's in the active position. So you can just multiply that. So it's 50 times whatever other um amount of Pokemon that have uh, damage counters on it. So that's a very sneaky, just like it's supposed to be. It's a Hisuian Zoroark. You know, you have that move where it makes you think you're hitting a certain Pokemon, and when you hit it, it reveals a Zoroark. So its ability is super awesome. So I don't know what its ability in this one is for Zoroark.
its V-Star ability. It looks like it's one of those useful abilities for having an extra supporter card or um, just an extra help during your turn.
Okay.
And it says that you may use this ability during your turn to discard your hand and draw 7 cards. So this really comes in handy if you have a bad hand, or
Yeah.
in your previous turn you were um, Marnied, and it really comes in handy just to sort of change your gameplay or change your game plan during your turn,
Yeah.
and consequently during the next few turns as well.
Exactly,
Um,
because instead of having a supporter that does that, now you have a Pokemon who does that. To be
right.
able to discard and draw 7. I mean, we have a bunch that are what, like draw 3, draw 5 cards, correct?
Yeah, those are there's a lot of support cards, but the most common ones are always the Marnie,
Mhm.
Professor's Research,
Right.
and expanded it's N,
Mhm.
which shuffles your cards and your opponent's cards, and based on
Mm.
how many prize cards you have left,
Yeah.
that's how many you draw. Um, and this really comes in handy in either in the early game or in the later game.
Mhm.
Early in the game, this would be great for setting up any card to have it in your discard pile to bring it back eventually.
And to go after this one, do you have a main one, or do you want to highlight something that's like that's a basic Pokemon? Maybe before we get into the trainers and the supporter type of things, do you have anyone that you want to signal out that's basically like a basic, a small Pokemon that has a really good ability? I think on the top of my head, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Pikachu and Raichu line was really good in this one. Um, just in terms of being able to hit and come right back out of play. This one has 1 retreat cost, but its ability might be something worth looking at.
Yeah, so if this Pokemon has any energy attached to it, it has no retreat cost.
Hmm.
Currently, the electric Pokemon
Hmm.
aren't in the top tier um, among decks, and other a lot of other players do not use them.
And that's what hurts me so much, because on the TCG, and I've played against you sometimes on the TCGO, and I love using electric types. I don't know what it is. I'm the fan of Pikachu, but I love using electric type decks with the Jolteon GX, the Flaffy nowadays, and the thing that I hate the most, and I don't know what it is about that, is that it seems like most, or I'm just talking about Pikachu VMAX. It wants to hit hard, but when it hits hard, you lose that energies. But then Flaffy came around, and then you could use that as the supporter for the energies
Right.
on electric types and stuff like that. But that's what always irks me, and I wish electric types were much better in the meta. Um, and hopefully Pokemon is listening to this, because they need to give us a very good Pikachu, maybe that doesn't knock out all its energies at once. But looking at this one, its ability Pika Rush, and obviously that's a great name. I might use that for something else, to be quite honest. Pika Rush is awesome, but the Whimsy Tackle, it's going to be flip a coin if Tails' attack does nothing. That's the risk that you play with the electric types, and maybe that's what doesn't make them the top tier, is to be able to do, the 50 damage, but you need 3 energies. So that's the takeoff. It's like it's 3 energies for 50, which really doesn't really do too much damage, to be quite honest. So this one is something to look at, because you can hit and come off, hit and come off with no retreat cost as soon as you get one energy in it. And obviously that artwork is beautiful. That artwork is something to keep on the shelf, as we are the hashtag Pika gang. So that's the one that I want as collectability type of side. Maybe it's worth looking at that Raichu just to see what its big brother does in the playability side.
Yeah, so I took a quick peek at this Raichu,
Mm-hmm.
and I really like its attacks
Mm-hmm.
because one for one energy you're already doing 30 damage,
Exactly.
and there's the chance that your opponent's active Pokemon is paralyzed. And in TCGO or in Pokemon TCG,
Mm-hmm.
if you're paralyzed, you're paralyzed. Like there's no
Now
uh
that's my question that I want to make to you, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot, but um, in the TCG aspect, there is burned, poison, sleep, and paralyzed. Am I missing anything?
and confusion.
Confusion. Okay, you got 5 status conditions. Okay.
So um moving on to the next attack,
Yeah.
a spark. This would be a perfect addition um to any deck. So
Yeah.
the add-on effect says if you've used your V-Star power, this attack does 120 more damage.
That's insane. That's quite insane because it's 100 plus 120,
Right,
so that equals 220, which you knock out most Vs, to be quite honest, with 220. V maxes and above might be a little bit harder to knock out, but hopefully you've done damage to that V star or V max before you get that Raichu out. And also to be able to do just one retreat cost with the colorless energy. I mean that's an awesome card right there, right?
right. And unfortunately, it's 2 times weakness to fighting.
Yeah.
So as we saw before with Machamp,
Hmm.
this would be a horrible matchup. With Urshifu Rapid Strike or Single Strike,
Yeah.
it would be a horrible matchup.
So
Uh,
so I'm sorry to cut you off, but what typing is the best typing you would say right now that don't have too many weaknesses in standard and that kind of stand out? Because I know dragons, right, don't have any weakness.
right, they don't have any weakness
Okay.
currently in the game, but
And
in my opinion,
is there another one that comes like that stands above the rest, but below
um,
dragon?
currently it's both Psychic and Dark.
Mm-hmm.
So Psychic could destroy any of the Urshifu's
Right.
decks,
Mm-hmm.
among others,
Mm-hmm.
like the Lucario V-Star that just came out. And Dark could destroy the Psychic decks. So it's sort of like a small balance between those two currently.
Right.
And it all depends on who can set up better in the early game
Okay.
or who takes the first prize card.
Right.
So hopefully with these new cards that they're dropping,
Mm-hmm.
it'll balance the game a lot more.
Perfect.
And hopefully the next few months with the meta game would be way better for newcomers or veteran players.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I wanted to highlight that one because I know Pikachu into Raichu is not normally a combination that people see in the TCG type of playability, but it's changed in this one. You know, a lot of people are going to be looking out for that Pikachu to evolve into that Raichu, obviously. So that's a good one. So before we get into the trainers and the supporters, is there anyone, the last small typing or the small basic Pokemon that you want to highlight, or maybe that Magna Zone? I know Magna Zone is type of a new type of Pokemon, like the V Star one or the V that you want to talk about, because I know that's one that you don't see often, right?
Right.
There's a new one that's popping out, and it's an electric type. So let's see what it has.
Yeah. So it looks like electric type are making a comeback
Hmm.
uh, with this set. Hopefully,
Yeah,
in the English, when it comes to the English sets,
yeah,
um, it'll be a fan favorite.
yeah. Of course.
And they all revolve around Generation Four.
Hmm.
The remakes pretty much hyped it up for all of
Yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I just remember like playing the games when I was younger,
Hmm.
and it brings a lot of nostalgia. And so I'm looking at the attacks, and it looks pretty awesome. For 3 energy, you get um, an attack that does 30 damage to two of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So if they happen to be V right off the bat, I think of the telescopic lens that does 30 more damage for benched Pokemon B. So that's already doing 60 damage to bench Pokemon, aside from 90 with your active Pokemon.
Right. And that's a good one as well, because people usually bring out that Pokemon that's in the active spot and you're trying to kill it, and if you're stuck in turns or you have a bad hand and stuff like that, they're not able to kill that Pokemon quick enough to be able to get something off their bench. So
Right.
people obviously love to stack the bench and build from there. And then obviously if you're doing 90 damage to the active one, you're most likely almost killing it in within 2 turns
Right.
of something. And then you're able to do in those 2 turns 60 damage to whatever is going to come out. And then you play around with the Raichu, and then you bring the Raichu out and stuff like that. But that's an awesome V, and maybe we should look at the V Star to see how it evolves into it.
Yeah, the V Star is the same scenario with just 3 energies. You're doing a lot of a lot of damage. And in previous sets, we've seen like 5+
Mm-hmm.
for 5+ energies required for an attack
Yeah.
that does this much damage.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately for us, this is a V Star. So in the end, if it gets knocked out, your Pokemon takes 2 prize cards.
Right.
But for its attack, I really like it because it helps you search for 2 item cards. And like I mentioned, electric types really uh, do well with other item cards.
Exactly. And that's 100 damage, correct? For that magnet grip?
180.
100. Oh my god. That
Yeah.
that is an awesome attack to be able to search for 2 item cards, put it in your hand, and then do 180 to a Pokemon. Now that's a great V Star.
So it'd be great to prevent your opponent from setting up if they use the any of the Inteleon
Mm-hmm.
lines, and even its V-Star attack that does 90 damage to the bench Pokemon. Uh,
Exactly. So that basically, from the V Pokemon that you're able to put straight down on the field, or on the active spot without ever trying to you could say evolve it, correct? The V can
right.
go straight on. It's a basic one, and to be able in 1 turn to do that 30 damage to with that previous ability of the other one, or the add-on to the attack, then plus the 90, you're doing 110 to 2 of the bench Pokemon, not just one. You're doing 2 for them, and then with the attack of 180. The only thing I think the downside to this Magna Zone, without for it not being a top tier type of thing, is obviously the weakness of it. It's the fighting one, but as well as the HP. I feel like the HP, if it had around 300 or something like that, I don't know if that's normal to have a 300 in V Star. But for it to have 300 plus its attacks of what it has, it would be up there in the top tier list.
Yeah. Lately, we haven't seen any other V-Star with more than 270, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I haven't really looked into it that much, but the lowest I've seen are 250.
Mm-hmm.
So 270 is just okay.
Right.
And pairing it with other Pokemon with other abilities or other items, it could really come in handy.
Okay.
Right off the bat, I think about the Big Charm, and it gives a Pokemon 30 more
There you
HP,
go. There you
so
go.
that
So
would be perfect for it.
that'll equal out that 300. Yeah, correct.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So if you want, Garen, we can take a look at supporters and trainers if there's anyone you want to highlight. It doesn't look like there's much now. Just to remind everybody who's watching, 71 cards total right now, not including the secret rares type of thing. So hopefully we can include those maybe on the review part of things, depending on when this video goes live. But yeah, anyone you want to look at, supporter or trainer or a tool?
Um, so it looks like these supporters are all add-ons to the Pokemon Legends Arceus
Yeah.
characters.
Hmm.
It looks like they're pretty much just newer versions
Right.
of cards we've seen before.
And what's the next one you want to look at?
And lately, I've been noticing there's been a lot of players that have been creating decks
Uh-huh.
that disrupt the opponent. So
Okay.
we've seen the Durant deck We'd seen in expanded they still use the um, this type of format where it prevents your opponent from setting up the
Hmm.
whole game,
Okay.
and it just disrupts your opponent's either way of attacking, way of setting up evolution cards, way of using that your opponent is the Pokemon's abilities are prevented, side effects
Okay.
from their attacks
Mm.
are excluded, and this would be perfect for any future deck.
Yeah, because like I'm looking at it and it says look at the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. You may discard any number of item cards you have there. Obviously, and your opponent shuffles the cards you didn't discard back into their deck. So exactly, you're able to basically peer into a little bit of what their deck has or what they're playing, and also to be able to, let's say, like you say, disrupt their decks to be able to look at the top 5 cards in your opponent's deck. And to be quite honest, and you can answer that, how many item cards would you say you play in your deck, or you would
Um,
want to play in your deck? Right.
and so I would say I use a good 15,
So
10, 15
you
item cards.
will you will find item cards inside of those 5
Yes,
cards that are
it's
the top of
possible
your opponent's deck.
because there's Switch, there's Escape Rope, there's Evolution Incense, Rare Candy,
Yeah. A
um,
boss's order?
Pokeballs.
Yeah.
Boston Sorters is a supporter,
Supporter, correct. Sorry.
so it might not work.
Uh-huh.
But I know I think it's just item cards, not tool cards.
Okay.
Um, so like the charms or the belts or any of the gloves or any of those, I don't think they may be discarded.
Mhm.
It's like gameplay item cards,
Okay.
and it'll be just annoying in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
you put probably like 3 or 5 of these inside of your deck, maybe 3. You don't wanna put too much of these, the supporters into your deck, but you imagine 3 and then you're able to play one right after the other, on each turn, you know?
right,
Well, yeah, 1 in 1 turn, 1 in the next one, 1 in the 3rd one, so you're able to see,
right,
a total of 15 cards of your opponent's deck, and you can figure out what they're trying to do and stuff like
exactly.
that, which is a good one. Yeah, is there any other one you wanna kinda
Yeah,
go
so
over?
there's two left. I
Okay.
don't know if you want to go over them, but Arc Phone, right off the bat, it just looks like a Rotom phone.
Yeah.
Um, but
Which is
this
quite awesome because it's like look at the top card of your deck, return it to the top card of your deck, and you may swap a prize card, to be quite honest, because sometimes well that's easy because sometimes you get to look through cards inside of your deck and you get to scour what cards are in there. And if they're not in your hand and if they're not in your deck, then that means they're in the prize pool.
right,
So to be able to just keep shuffling through them and try to get something out of your prize pool, it could be a game changer because at the end, I know me, I've had many instances where I'm like completely done and the game's over and I look at my prize pool stack and I have all my cards there, to be quite honest. So
yeah,
that's something that's no longer going to be something that we have to worry about with the Arc phone. So that's a good one. That's a quick kind of overview of this one of the Arc phone.
yeah, and it just looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Full art or in gold version.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
And then the other two are Pokemon tool cards, so
Hmm.
they get attached to your Pokemon um in play.
Right.
And then one is automated arm, and what it does is the Pokemon can attack if it's asleep or paralyzed.
Oh, okay. So
So
that's a
it's
good one
kind
for
of handy.
the electric ones that are gonna come out, to
Yeah,
be when they get you paralyzed, or asleep. That's a really good one as well.
yeah. So it's gonna change the game a lot more with these cards,
Yeah.
as well as the other one, the Box of Disaster.
Okay.
If
That
the
sounds
Pokemon
menacing.
be, I know,
That
right? I
sounds
mean,
that
it's
box of
all themed
disaster.
around um, bad luck and misfortune.
Yeah.
Um, the card reads: If the Pokemon V this card is attached to had full HP and is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, put H damage counters on the attacking Pokemon.
Okay.
So sort of like a spooky energy.
Yeah.
If you have 80 HP left
Mhm.
and you attack your opponent, you end up losing in the long run. Unfortunately, it's Pokemon B, so try not to attach it to single prize cards,
Okay.
or else it just
Gotcha.
won't work.
Gotcha. All
Um,
right.
but this is very situational,
Mhm.
and I'm sure it'll come in handy. Like in the future, we'll see um, decks in Pokemon tournaments
Mhm.
that feature this card.
That's awesome.
Even
All
just
right.
having one would be great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, okay, so we've gone through basically Dark Phantasm, a quick overview. I mean, obviously, you guys can check out Cerebi, go through each one single. But at the ending of this video, we're trying to make this something that we can do for every single set. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and come back whenever you guys see the PokeTalks. There's going to be a PokeTalks, and we're going to go with our next section and our last section of the video, which is our top 5 favorite Pokemon. In my terms, it'll be the collectability, and obviously in Garen's terms, it'll be the playability of each one. So if you want, I can go first. Yo, what is going on, my Pokemaniacs? This is Pokemaniac Niko from the future. I am talking Wednesday, May 11th. The secret rares have been announced for Dark Phantasm, and what a beautiful set it's going to be. Quite honestly, gonna have to grab a bunch of boxes for this one to be able to complete some of these character secret rares, the rainbow rares, and the gold cards that I'm about to show you guys here. Let's just dive right in quickly. We got the Parasect, in its natural habitat, surrounded by different mushrooms and fungus and all that stuff. We got the Pikachu, just passed out, completely passed out in the field. We got the Gengar with the misfortunes. We got the Hisuian Arcanine. We got the Spiritomb with the Vesa character rare. This is very, very dark backstory, but I'm gonna just leave it at that. We got the Snorlax with the Kamado, just munching out on whatever it can find. That is so, so dope. And then we got some full art goodness with the Hisuian Electrode V full art, the Magna Zone V full art, and Amoris V full art, Gallade V full art, Hisuian Gudra V full art, and the Hisuian Zoroark V full art. And I believe the Zoroark line in this, from everything from the V to the V Star to the V full art and anything else that comes after it, is going to be very, very collectible. So I'm going to keep that one in mind. We got the Volo, full art, Iscan, Arizua, full art, and the Misfortune Sisters. I believe the Misfortune Sisters is going to be one of the more highly desirable trainer cards, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully, with time, we can figure that out. But we got the Enamoris V, the Character Secret Rare, and the Gallade V character secret rare, just like the battle region box that we got with the Misty Starmie and the Garchomp with the Cynthia. So 2 character secret rares to look out for: Misfortune Scissors for the full art trainer, the Hisuian Zoroark V for the full art, and the Pikachu, the Gengar, the Snorlax. Every one of these character rares I'm gonna need to at least complete for the character rare slots. We got the Magna Zone V Star Rainbow Rare, which we don't have a picture of. We got the Hisuian Gudra V Star Rainbow Rare, super nice. The Hisuian Zoroark V Star Rainbow Rare. So I'm saying Hisuian Zoroark V from V Star, from full art to V Star Rainbow Rare, is going to be highly, highly collectible. We got the Volo, Iscan, Arizua, and the Misfortune Sisters Rainbow Rare. Some people don't quite honestly like the Rainbow Rare trainers. They rather have the full art. That's their preference. But super awesome card. And now we have the gold cards. The one V star to get the gold card is the Hisuian Zoroark. So this one as well, highly desirable, highly playable, and I believe probably with the Misfortune Sisters is going to be one of the top price cards in this set. But time will tell on that one. We got the Dark Patch with the gold card and the Calamity case as well. So that wraps up our secret rares revealed for the Dark Phantasm, and it's going to be an amazing set. Right before Astral Radiance is gonna just continue with all the goodness that Pokemon has for.
I'm really surprised they still have the Rainbow Rare. I guess they want to make it harder for collectors to pull these awesome new versions of cards. But as far as competitively, I don't really see them on TCGO. And especially I don't really see any rare card being played with at the regionals or at any meet. Um, those are usually um, more for collectors.
So, top 4 spot for me, or top 1 spot. I'll review the top 5 spots that I have here on my list. I got the Radiant Pokemon, starting with the Steelix, the Gardevoir, and the Sneasler. I need all 3 of those for collectability. The V-Star Pokemon obviously are very highly desirable, but I think I'm going to go with Garen on that one and say the Hisuian V-Star is going to be very highly desirable for me as well. And the Pikachu, obviously the normal Pikachu was before, but I'm going to take that spot away and I'm going to put it for the character rare Pikachu. I absolutely need that Pikachu in my life. So we're going to keep that as number 3. And 2 secret rares that I have and that I want is going to be the full art Hisuian Zoroark V for my number 4 spot. And for my last and final number 5 spot, it is going to be the Hisuian Zoroark V Star Gold. So that is my top 5. And I'll throw it over to Garen so he can show you his top 5.
So it's been a couple days since we last met, and there's currently a heat wave where I'm at, and that's why I'm showing too much skin. But the secret rares have finally been leaked. Several different sources have more leaks than others, and I'm currently on Cerebi and I'm looking at this Pikachu full art with the character from the Pokemon Legends Arceus, the female default character, and they also released the Hisuian Arcanine Spiritomb. Niko briefly talked about those, but I'm surprised they released the Enamoris in this set. I was hoping it would come out in a later set, closer to pretty much Valentine's Day. Judging by the character design, it would be a great addition to your collection. Um, don't know if character rares are worth a lot, but judging by its attack, Blossom Tail, put up to 2 basic energy from your discard pile onto your bench Pokemon in any way you like, would be a great addition to those decks that involve attacking depending on how many energy cards you have in play. And its ability, Divine Guardian, Pokemon with any psychic energy attached aren't affected by the abilities of their opponent's Pokemon. So this would be a great addition for any player to use competitively. Going into my top 5, I have a tie for 5th place. The Parasect and the Hisuian Electro V would be a good pairing in the future. So Parasect's ability states that when you play this card to evolve Paras, both active Pokemon are now poisoned and asleep. So with being poisoned and asleep, the Hisuian Electro V, its attack for no energy, states that it does 100 damage for each special condition affecting this Pokemon. And when you're asleep, you're not allowed to attack, or you're unable to attack. But not sure if with this attack you are able to. I doubt it, but you already have one status condition if you do manage to wake up. But adding a burn and confusion and being extremely lucky would be able to do 300 damage to your opponent. So number 5, these two are going to be a great duel. It won't be the best duel, but it would be a duel in a deck that would be very fun to play with your friends or on PCTGO here and there. Number 4, I stated before that I really like Gardevoir, and with these new Radiant Pokemon, I feel that they're sort of going to balance the game a lot more. We've seen the Greninja, the Halucha, the Heatran, and this Radiant Gardevoir would be a perfect addition to several decks that include um, attaching and adding energies to your bench Pokemon. So in the long run, you could potentially do a lot of damage, and in return, if this Pokemon were to ever be knocked out, it could only give up one prize card compared to three, like Shadow Rider, Calyrex, VMAX. Number 4, I chose one of the original 150 Pokemon, Machamp. At a first glance, it sort of looks like a meme deck and pretty much a Pokemon that would be hard to set up because it's a stage 3. But the fact that if your opponent has 3 prizes left or fewer, this Pokemon gets 150 plus HP. So it already has 150 plus another 150, that's 300. It pretty much turns into VMAX here if you play your cards right. Its attack, Strong Arm Lariat, can do 100 more damage, but you can't attack next turn. And going up against Pokemon like Crobat, Gengar, VMAX, Arceus, you could potentially do enough damage to knock it out. So you don't really need the Strong Arm Lariat's second special effect. And by the time you finish setting up, you could do a clean sweep with all your opponent's Pokemon or have them scoop because you're just too powerful. And pairing it with other Pokemon, it could become one of the best decks in format. And I can't wait for this Pokemon to come to the English set. Number 2 is actually a trainer card that really caught my eye. The Misfortune Sisters is a card that you could look at your opponent's deck and discard any item cards you find there. This can be great early in the game to have them to prevent your opponent from setting up, and it can be great later in the game to sabotage your opponent's strategy. And it looks like it is only item cards, so cards like any of the balls, switching now, evolution incense, among others that are really useful. And by having 3, you could be lucky enough to discard 15 cards, and that's about as many item cards are needed in a very strong deck. My number 1 pick is actually the set of Hisuian Zoroark V and Hisuian Zoroark V-Star. So you can't have the V-Star without the V. And I find it interesting how the newer sets include attacks that don't need an energy. So it looks like they're really stepping down on the energy cost for most Pokemon. Because it's just a nightmare to set up, in my opinion. And Pokemon Legends Arceus, it really has a great design, and its V-Star really brings nostalgia to the Zoroark GX and one of the first Zoroark in black and white. Its attack does damage for each Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. So setting it up in your first turn could potentially do a lot of damage. Or not in your first turn, in your second or third turn, it could do a lot of damage. And its V-Star ability states that you may use this ability to discard your hand and draw 7 cards. So you get a supporter as an ability, and in my opinion, that really comes in handy early in the game or late in the game, just to get the cards you really need. And those are my top 5 for this set that I can't wait to come to the English sets. I don't really collect Japanese cards, but it looks like these cards from Dark Phantasma will be included in Lost Origin. It comes out in August, and it looks like the final Sword and Shield set will be in November. So hopefully afterwards we'll get the next generation Pokemon cards. And with that, we end the video. Thank you so much for watching, and let us know if you really like this type of videos. We'll push out some more videos when Astral Radiance comes out, and we'll take it from there. Hashtag Pika Gang.
All right, so we've reached the end of our Dark Phantasm review. Preview, actually. There will be a review after it comes out and we see what kind of secret rares there are and what cards we are lucky enough to pull. And obviously you guys can go to Cerebi.com and check them out one by one, but we just kind of wanted to highlight some of the stuff that we thought were good. And obviously comment down below if you guys think we missed a Pokemon that is very good playability or collectability. You guys just let us know down in the comments below, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.